Welcome back, everyone, to Public Affairs. I am your host, Kaylee Aiken, and today I am here with Eddie. So, Eddie, why don't you introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about you?
Well, I'm Eddie Powell, and I'm a square dance caller, and that's what we're talking about today is square dancing and how did it get started, and how did I get started, and how can you get started? And we can go from there.
Absolutely. So when did square dancing start?
Well, let's go clear back to the days of George Washington, and you can realize that as the folks were coming over, they're coming from different parts of Europe and mainly Britain. Those folks were doing waltzes and quadrilles and all kinds of dances like that and using certain musicians. I mean, only a few of us out of the population are musicians at the time. Well, the common folks out here, we wanted to dance too, but we didn't really appreciate the waltzes, quadrilles, contras, and some of the other slower type dances. So the musicians started incorporating a lot of the music of the day and then moving them into squares, smaller circles, and lines and so forth to provide some choreography that was different than what happened in the White House or wherever after that. Well, it evolved then into this conglomeration of all of these different dance types to form square dancing. And square dancing is our national folk dance. It has been around that long. Well, from there, square dancing kind of evolved into different territorial and different regional type music and movements being included. So we might do Around the Couple Take a Peek as one of the dances from Central Ohio area, but yet Yellow Rose in Texas might be something that they do, obviously in Texas and Oklahoma and whatever. But then eventually all of these have kind of blended together, and we're still using many of the older songs. So Wabash Cannonball, Little Liza Jane, Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight, Coming Round the Mountain When She Comes. Those kind of songs are very much the standards for what square dancing evolved into. Well, that ran for many years and has gone across the country, and that's what some of the kids will refer to as, your grandpa's square dancing. Well, yeah, and guess what? There's a revival going on, and people love it. We've got a bunch of kids that want to get out and enjoy it and find out, hey, this is fun. Not only can I meet people, can I dance with my neighbors, I could also dance with my grandpa and grandma if I want to, and just come out and have a good time. That's what square dancing is all about. It has now evolved. It went many years with the just hoedown, and in hoedown, the first couple leads out and dances with couple number 2, and they do their movements, and then from there they move on to couple number 3 and do their movements, and then on to couple number 4, and then the whole circle does something, and then couple number 2 leads out and does their event. Well, all of that kind of evolved in the 1950s. There were a lot of cowboy movies. That's what everybody went to the movie theater and watched Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and all these folks. Well, if you go back and look, there's a lot of those movies about cowboys that also included a segment of square dancing, and most of those were filmed out west in California, the different movie theaters, and there was a caller or two out there that were very popular with the movie crowd, and they would use those same folks to do the square dance scenes. Well, obviously the people in the movie were wearing Western clothes, and that particular caller may invent a new call, a new step, a new movement, just to keep it interesting. Well, okay, that became Western square dancing because of the Western attire. So we now today have the old-fashioned hoedown, Eastern, if you will, square dancing that started in the George Washington days and came forward. And then the branch off was the Western square dancing that's still going on today from those Western cowboy movies. Well, Western has grown into more of a puzzle type dancing. I can call different calls in different orders to challenge your mind and how square dancing works. And we incorporated many of the songs that you hear on the radio. We can dance to those, and many of the recording companies for square dancing have come up with the same music, and we use the chorus portion of those songs, and the body of the song, if you will, is the movements. How do you do it? The head square through four hands, swing your corner, whatever. So you'll hear much of the same music that you hear on the radio, whether it's country or rock or whatever. Can you imagine Disney's Mambo Number 5? Yeah, we dance to it. Can you imagine Ghostbusters? Yeah, we dance to it. I mean, there's all kinds of music out there, a wide variety, and that's all included in the Western side, which is more of a mental game and not so much swap and swing or the physical as the old-fashioned hoedown. Now, the hoedown dancing, we include songs like, again, Coming Round the Mountain, Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight, Liza Jane, many of these standards from way back in that time period, and it's the same movements over and over, but again, there's a lot of swap and swing and just enjoy and have a great time. Well, that's what square dancing's all about, is community. It's building trust. It's self-confidence. It's team building, if you will. We have particular companies that will have us come in and do a square dance now and then for their group because it does build team thinking. So love to have you get involved in square dancing. We can certainly do that. There's active clubs here in Central Ohio, and I myself have open dances that anybody can come to that are old-fashioned hoedown dances. So you can get on the floor. My guarantee is in 13 seconds or less, I'll have you dancing.
Yeah.
And we do.
That's awesome. So you talked a little bit about some of the certain moves and where they came from. So where did square dancing start?
Well, again, George Washington's day, so up and down those 13 colonies on the East Coast is where it kind of drifted out to and got incorporated in the music that was going on of the day. And those musicians obviously moved up and down a little bit in different areas and brought different songs and different movements into those areas. Well, from there, as the country grew, then so did square dancing. Came right along with the folks, the pilgrims and the traveling across country. Let's go set up a house in Iowa or something. Well, along came square dancing with all of that. So it is now not only America's folk dance, but it is around the world and done always in English. So we have, for instance, clubs and callers in Japan. The Japanese callers call in English. Now, they get down off the stage. If they don't happen to know any more English, then you might have a difficult time talking to them. But everything is done in English around the world for square dancing.
Yeah. So how did you get involved? Where did your involvement come from?
Well, that's kind of a long story, but I'll give you the cliff notes. My parents met at a square dance, obviously got married after, dancing many times together, and had myself and my sister, and kind of got out of square dancing for a while. Well, friends were saying, hey, let's get you back in. Tuesday night starts a class over here. We're going to give a few quick lessons on some of the different movements and so forth and show you how it all works and get you involved again. And we used to go for rides in the country in the car and just, roll the windows down and have a good time and talk and whatever. Well, Mom was on Dad about, I want to go to these square dances. No, I don't want to go. I'm done with that. Well, back and forth, and I'll bet we traveled 45 miles, and that's all we heard. Finally, me from the back seat says, hey, Dad, if you'll go, I'll go. He looked at Mom and said, okay, we're going Tuesday. I thought to myself, uh-oh, what did I just get myself into? Well, we got there Tuesday, my sister and I dancing together, Mom and Dad dancing together. Of course, the school gymnasium was full of people, and we all learned square dancing together. And back then it was maybe 10 weeks or something, once a week, to kind of become familiar with each other and get used to dancing again and so forth. Well, before week 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there, the caller called me over and handed me some records, and he said, go home and learn these records. You're going to do them next week. And, well, they were singing calls, so they were some of the songs on the radio with the square dance terminology put to it, and you just sing that particular song and call the patter to it. Well, he would give me more records. Finally, he said, I want you to take this class over to your basement and work with them on Wednesday night instead of Tuesday. And I said, well, I don't know enough to teach them anything. He said, I don't want you to teach them. I just want you to work with them and figure out how to put the choreography together and, play some music and just have a good time. Again, another community building kind of thing. We did. Before I was out of square dancing lessons, I had already basically taught myself to call and started then, booking hoedown dances and whatever, onward and upward. So here we are today. And I used to be a square dance caller full time and travel the country. I called dances in Toronto, I called them in California, on and on. And that was my full-time career for quite a while.
Just takes a little shove to get you that far away. So
at 10 years old, you'd be surprised what you can learn.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got 2 books here that you've published. Let's talk a little bit about these 2 and a little bit about the differences.
Well, this is the latest book, okay? This is a collection of several of these hoedown dances, especially the ones that are popular in this region. Again, they may be a little different for Texas or California or whatever, but around here, these are like the top 50, and it not only can be used by a caller, but it can also be used by phys ed teachers, for instance, in school, or someone that's trying to help out a group in their basement or just have some fun. Maybe Mom wants to call something or whatever. All right, these are the words on how to do those particular dances. Again, Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight, Around a Couple Take a Peek, all these kind of songs, Dip and Dive, Dip for the oyster, Dive for the clam, Grapevine Twist, some of these songs that are very popular in this region. Now, you would have to come up with the music. You may need an amplifier of some type, and you need licensing to be able to use that particular music, not the words, but the music itself. So a little bit more to it than just jumping right into it, but certainly I can hold your hand and help you if you want to get involved in that. The other book, my earlier book, is So You Want to Be a Caller. And this is all about being a caller for Western style square dancing, and a little more intricate, so a few more pages and so forth of how you build the routines, but then the routines can change from night to night to night. It's not much the same all over and over as the hoedown dancing is. This is more, we build the choreography on the fly, and this is how to do it and keep all the couples moving and so forth. So Those are the two books. So You Want to Be a Caller and America's Traditional Square Dances, right here in this one.
Yeah, that's awesome, being able to create those books to do something that you love. So if someone wanted to contact you about being a caller, how would they do so?
If you want to be a caller or you want to be a dancer, my phone number, you can text me, 614-772-7377. Again, 614-772-7377. Or you can email me at eddie@eddiepowell.com. Eddie, E-D-D-I-E, eddie@eddiepowell.com. And we've got some of these little things printed up. Again, it's name and address and whatever on there, a little bigger than the business card. And if you would like to come to some of those open square dances, the hoedown type, you should know that I teach everything right from the start, everything you need to know that night. So I'll teach you how to swing, Allemande left, grand chain 8, all of this right from the start. So all you have to do is get on the floor. In 13 seconds or less, I will have you dancing. And you're going to have a great time all night long.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I've been trying to get him to teach me Footloose. So maybe I'll be able to get to one of these events that he's got.
Well, that's the way I set my dances up. We'll do a couple of the hoedown songs, and then we'll do a couple or 3 line dances. So Church Clap, Footloose, Love a Rainy Night, I mean, on and on and on, Macarena, all this kind of stuff. We always include all that stuff, just an easy, fun, and we get on the floor. And by the way, on the contact of me, if you'd like to know where those dances are, send me a note. Again, email eddie@eddiepowell.com or 614-772-7377. Text me and I'll send you back the list of, what's open and what's available.
So what do you enjoy most about square dancing calling?
The calling itself it's a mental game. So I love putting the pieces together. I mean, I'm a builder, I'm a teacher, a trainer. So all of that, I love it. And add in the music. I used to be disc jockey for many years on the radio, and again, it's my love, it's my passion.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about how you start with the basics before everybody starts dancing. So how do you keep dancers engaged and energetic throughout the whole night?
The whole night, well, it's a selection of music. It's them being, engaged with a particular partner. And those partners, if you're single, you can change partners every time. It's up to you. But a lot of the folks end up, I kind of like how you swing versus how that guy swings, and they kind of pair up, and they go from dance to dance to dance together. If you are single, you're more than welcome. If you are, high school, college age, we have a lot of dancers in that age range. We have folks in senior centers that dance and love doing it too. So you are more than welcome to be on the dance floor. Just get a hold of me. I'll show you where they are, and we're off and running.
Absolutely. So you talked a little bit about it. I like how that person swings, but I don't like how this person swings. So what are common mistakes or misunderstandings that beginners have?
Well, the biggest one and the hardest move to learn is how to swing. And what I try to example is if you will put your right hip bones together. And then I go through the hand holds on how the guy will hold the girl, and she'll kind of lean back in his arm a little bit and so forth. All right, she controls how fast that goes around, but if you will pretend there's a pole right there where your hips are joined, and you're both walking forward around that pole, that keeps you swinging. Sometimes people will get in front of each other. Now you're going to get walked on. Because that guy can't keep his feet off of your feet, and somebody's going to get hurt. You know what I mean? Somebody will get their toes stepped on. Well, learning to swing is the most difficult, and I have you swing with each person in the square. So you'll see this one leans a little that way, or this one goes a little faster or slower, or how they hold the person when you are swinging and whatever. And you'll just get the feel of that person and how it should be done. Now it just glides. So you'll kind of pair off or want to dance in that person's square more often because of how they swing. So that's the hardest move in square dancing.
Yeah, absolutely. Not everything's easy. You got to give a little bit of a challenge in there.
Well, and the younger folks too. Sometimes we get, 8, 10, 12 years old, and they're a little shorter sometimes than the adults. Well, that's kind of hard to get those hip bones together. So we'll do an elbow, an arm swing, and let them go around that way. But they still enjoy, the movement and being involved.
Yeah, you guys got to think of every aspect when doing these types of things.
Been there, done that.
So how do you incorporate different genres of music with different styles with square dancing?
Well, it's the music that you choose behind whatever words, whatever song. So Liza Jane, for instance, is a song. You always use the Liza Jane song. But Move It On Over, the old song that Hank Williams wrote, sang, and is now done by George Thorogood. All right, both age groups go, that's my song. Well, you're absolutely right, and let's dance to it. So we put the choreography, the words to it, and we sing Move It On Over. Your big dog is coming home, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's the choice of music. It's including the different line dances. And I, in my dances, always try to include at least one or two slow dances. I call them belly rubbing music. We get out and just, enjoy your partner. So a lot of the married couples especially haven't had a dance like that since their wedding day or whatever. Get out there, talk, enjoy each other, cuddle a little. I mean, it's all about everybody winning and having fun at the dance.
Absolutely. So as we're getting ready to wrap up this interview, is there anything else you'd like to talk about that we may have missed, or a closing statement?
Come to the dances. Again, email me or text me. I'll get you the list. We teach everything. So right from the get-go, be there early, get ready for the first tip. And that's when I go through everything. But then, for instance, we do Liza Jane. Okay, the next song might be Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight. I will stop everything, teach that song, and then, a couple of line dances in between, maybe a slow dance, maybe freestyle, I call it. We'll put on You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog and show us what you got, Well, then we get back to more square dancing, and again, I stop each one of the square dances before we call it, walk you through it, show you how it works. Any questions, we take them right there. Everybody wins. Everybody has fun. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Eddie, for coming out. I really do appreciate you stopping by today and teaching the audience about square dancing. And I hope they take you up on your opportunity to email you and figure out where those
You all
events
come.
are.
And, we're available all over the state to come to your group. So put it together, we'll do it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
And as always, you're watching Public Affairs, and I am your host, Kaylee Aiken. Thank you.